Welcome to Vacuum Wars and to our review of the Yeedi M14 Plus, a robot vacuum mop combo with a multifunctional dock. Yeedi is a company founded by the robot vacuum giant Ecovacs, which tends to offer similar products as Ecovacs, but at lower prices. And the Yeedi M14 Plus is a good example of this. It's the lowest price we've seen yet for a robot vacuum with all the specs and features that it has. So we bought one for ourselves and put it through various tests over several weeks. In this video, I'll go over the pros and cons of the Yeedi M14 Plus to see if it can become our new favorite value robot vacuum, and how high it ended up ranking on the Vacuum Wars Top 20 Robot Vacuum list on our website. So, links in the description, and let's get started. Starting off with the basics. The Yeedi M14 Plus is a robot vacuum mop combo with a roller-style mop pad. It's selling for about the same price as the MOVA P10 Pro, which has had a long run as our favorite budget robot vacuum pick. So in this review, I'm going to be comparing our test results to the MOVA P10 Pro's results, as they are obvious competitors with very similar features. Starting off with the pros. The Yeedi M14 uses a 45-degree V-shaped bristle brush and a side brush to sweep up debris with Zero Tangle 3.0 technology, meaning that it has little plastic combs in the housing to help untangle hair debris off the surfaces of hard floors and carpet. And with its most basic job, it did quite well, picking up all the debris in our various tests fairly easily. In this way, it was very similar to the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra, which was also an excellent sweeper. Where the Yeedi M14 started to pull away, though, was with some of the other performance metrics. For example, we measured almost double the amount of suction, 2.35 kilopascals on the M14, which is way higher than average. Same thing with its airflow scores, which were significantly higher than average as well. This raw power seemed to translate to various practical performance tests, too. For example, in our carpet deep clean test, where we run the robot on medium pile carpet to see how well it can pick up embedded sand on a timed run on max power, it was able to pick up 87% of the sand, which is 10% higher than average and better than the P10 Pro. This story continued with our flattened hair pickup test, where we mimic pet hair and flatten it on carpet, which is pretty hard for robots to pick up. And the Yeedi M14 did exceptionally well here, picking up 95%. Which again was higher than the average and higher than the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra. So in almost every practical performance metric regarding vacuuming, the M14 was not only better than our previous value winner, it was significantly better than the average robot vacuum of any price. Another pro for the Yeedi M14 is its mopping features and mopping ability. As mentioned before, it uses a roller-style mop pad system, which is starting to become one of the more popular systems. This is compared to the dual spinning mop pad system, which its competitor, the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra, uses. While I wouldn't say that roller-style mops are always better than dual spinning mops in terms of stain removal, they certainly do have their advantages. The way that they work is, clean water sprays on the roller as it mops, and then a squeegee on the other side of the roller squeezes out dirty water as it vacuums and deposits it into an onboard dirty water tank, which is later automatically emptied into the base. What this means is the robots with roller-style mop pads can pick up not just dried stains, but also moderately wet spills, because they have a place to put the water, whereas the spinning pads tend to just spread liquids around. The roller styles are also better because they consistently refresh the mop pad with clean water, and that means that it doesn't need to return to the base as much to wash the pad, as the pads are generally fresher. Both the M14 and the P10 Pro Ultra mop pads lift up, so that they can avoid getting carpets wet. This is a really important feature, which allows them to vacuum and mop houses with a mixture of hard floors and carpets at the same time. Also, both robots have a feature where the mop pad will automatically extend to the right side to get closer to wall edges for much better edge coverage. In terms of mopping ability, we found that with our old dried stain test using coffee and grape juice, the Yeedi M14 did slightly better than the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra, but both of them were below average with that test. However, the Yeedi used significantly less water to get that score. In fact, on its medium water setting, the Yeedi only left behind 0.1 gram per 4x4 area, which is one of the lowest amounts of water we've seen. So the fact that it got a 79 on that test is pretty impressive, considering that the MOVA P10 Pro got a slightly worse score, with an entire gram of water left behind. We also do a slightly more accurate dried coffee test for stain removal, and we did this one a few times. I increased the water on the Yeedi to its maximum water setting, and there it was able to get an above average score. But even then, it was only using about half a gram of water, about half as much as average. So my takeaway from this is that the Yeedi M14 is definitely a better mop system than the P10 Pro Ultra. as you can see by the combined mop scores. But for best results, you're going to want to crank that water all the way to the highest setting. A big part of its mopping system is its multifunctional dock. When the robot finishes with its job, it will return to its charging dock and automatically empty the contents of its 400 milliliter internal dustbin into a disposable bag in the base. It will also wash its roller mop pad with 167-degree hot water, empty the contents of its onboard dirty water tank into the dirty water tank in the base, refill the robot's clean water tank, and dry the roller at 113 degrees Fahrenheit. The base also has dirt detection, so it can tell how dirty the mop water is and initiate further cleanings of the roller if needed. And it has station self-cleaning, all of which are pretty advanced features that are pretty rare to be seen in this price range. Though it should be said that the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra has most of those same features as well. We found that this dock worked well in our tests, and in general, it's a really big value add, as it makes the user really feel like they're getting a fully automated floor care system, which really does require very little maintenance, other than filling and emptying the water tanks every so often, and making sure the bag is changed every 150 days or so, at least according to Yeedi. Another big pro is its obstacle avoidance system. Both the Yeedi M14 and the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra use a camera as well as a 3D structured light system to recognize and avoid household objects. The Yeedi M14 also has an LED light which turns on in dark areas, like under couches, so that it can avoid objects in those conditions as well. In the various obstacle avoidance tests that we did, this was one area where the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra did slightly better than the Yeedi M14. But the M14 did have a very respectable average score of about 16 objects avoided out of 24. And in the navigation test that we did in the real world, it was able to avoid all real-world obstacles, not get stuck, and return to the base without incident after several runs. As far as navigation, the Yeedi M14 uses an internal LiDAR system to map and navigate your home, and we actually found this to be pretty good. It mapped our 2 floor plans on the first try without problems, and it jumped right into some complicated navigation and had pretty decent navigation efficiency. In fact, I was surprised to see that it had a higher navigation efficiency at 0.95 square meters per minute than the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra, which uses a top-mounted LiDAR. The M14 is not perfect though, and I suspect that its internal LiDAR combined with its just average obstacle avoidance will cause some problems in super cluttered houses. But it did pretty good in all our tests. One area where the Yeedi M14 did struggle in our testing was with battery efficiency. Despite having a larger official battery number at 241 minutes on low power, in the various battery life tests that we do, it had a slightly lower than average battery efficiency. And when combined with its navigation efficiency, it meant that its estimated square foot per charge number was about 1,280, which is above average, but was less than the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra, which did particularly good with battery efficiency. In any case, both of these robots have recharge and resume, so they will return to their dock and recharge and continue where they left off on the map if they do happen to run out of battery. I should also note that this is the first review that we changed the way that we calculate battery efficiency and navigation efficiency. So if you notice that these averages are different than they were before, that's why. The Yeedi M14's app is very similar to the Ecovacs app, and the MOVA app is similar to Dreamy's. And in general, they're very close to one another and both some of the best apps in the business. You have all kinds of control over the robot's features. You can schedule the robots per room, it has multi-level mapping, and virtual barriers. One significant difference is that the P10 Pro Ultra has a virtual assistant and the ability to use live video monitoring and other pet-related features, where the Yeedi M14 does not have that. After adding up all the scores, I was pleasantly surprised to see that the Yeedi M14 Plus did absolutely amazing. So I'm pleased to say that we at Vacuum Wars have a new favorite value robot vacuum, the Yeedi M14 Plus. It is a fairly new product though, so we'll keep an eye on its reviews for any deal breakers, and it'll drop in the rankings on our top 20 list if any issues show up. Links in the description to the Vacuum Wars top 20 list, and to the Yeedi M14 Plus and the MOVA P10 Pro Ultra. Be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave, and thanks for watching.
All of the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our current favorite vacuums in multiple categories. You'll also find links to the Vacuum Wars website in the description, where we have more detailed lists of our favorite products, like our new top 20 robot vacuums list, which is updated weekly.